Pillar of Thriller, Season 2, Episode 10.
A few moments later.
Yo. What's up, fuckers?
We back.
How we doing today?
Pillow Thriller, we got this. Another episode coming your way.
Oh, man, it's so nice to see you again, bro. I've been sick.
Justin went and got sick, so that was pretty selfish of him.
Yeah.
Real selfish of him to go get sick in this time that we had a lot of stuff on the horizon to come out.
We did, and now we're back at it. I mean, I think I did. I sincerely missed you. I hope you saw that in the trailer breakdown.
I did. You talked about it, and I appreciated it.
Man.
But for those that are curious, Justin was sick, not with COVID, just a cold.
Yeah.
Back cold, so... We had to take some time, but we did our trailer breakdown separately, which worked out well, and we'll be doing some together while we're filming tonight, and those will be dropping over the course of the next few weeks. But we're pumped about those. Those are fun.
Something we both enjoyed, and like now it's cool to do, like the reactions and the breakdown. So
I guess I never understood like the fun in it until like I looked at it through a different lens. You look at it through the lens of like what you can, like, let's just, all the thoughts you have watching a trailer, just put them on paper and put them out in the open. So that's the fun part. And like the trailers we've done already we had already seen. So some of these we're going to do genuine reactions like we hadn't seen before. So like 2 of them I think we have planned. We've already seen the trailer for, so it'll be just breaking that down. But the other 2 will be genuine reactions, which makes it fun.
Yeah.
Makes it fun.
We're still going to react, obviously, to like whatever we're watching.
Yep.
It'll just be, I think of the 3 trailers that we're doing tonight, I've only seen 1. So 2 of them.
So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun. But today, we got some hype for y'all. We got The Conjuring. I'll say it's not in the title, but I'll say The Conjuring 3, Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah.
So we're going to break that down. I know that was out in theaters, and it's also on HBO Max, so we didn't feel like we needed to hold off when we talked about the plot and gave spoilers in our breakdown in our episode. As y'all know, we usually try to wait, if something's not available on streaming, we try to wait a little bit so people can get it. Like, we talked about that with Spiral. We'll do Spiral, but that wasn't out on streaming at the time we wanted to do it and did Saw, so that's coming up as well. But Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, we're going to do a plot breakdown, and we're going to talk about the characters and some things we love and some things we have questions on, and just chop it up about the movie. Hopefully y'all have seen it. If you're a Conjuring fan or you're a fan of that modern horror that James Wan has presented to us through the Conjurings, the Annabelle movies and stuff, it's very much in that vein, and it does some stuff different, which some things we liked, and as you can tell, there's going to be some stuff we don't like. It's just what we do. And we're not everything's sunshine and rainbows, right?
And shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. I keep forgetting shit today.
Yeah, Justin's forgot like 3 things he was gonna say just in general conversation.
Oh my god,
like
bro.
what we were gonna talk about in the episode, he finally remembered it after 20 minutes. So
yeah, I couldn't fucking think of it. Like it was bugging the shit out of me too, and I was like, maybe it'll come to me as we're recording. But I literally just in the 5 seconds that I was about to say something, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Incredible.
That is absolutely Anyway, we're gonna be talking about this Conjuring universe is like, as you guys know, for the people who consistently watch and support, Conjuring is his favorite movie.
Yep. So I love the universe, and I love that. Like obviously, it's on a much smaller scale than like a Marvel does with their universes, but I like that there's a connected universe in horror. I absolutely love it, and it's across several movies, and it's not just like sequels to each other. So like I love. You could put an average movie out there, and I'm gonna like it, which kind of get down to that with this movie, because that was kind of my thoughts on it, even though I really did love it as a Homer fan of the Conjuring universe. But shall we set up kind of who's in it? And
for sure. As you guys, Patrick Wilson and
Vera Farmiga.
Vera Farmiga. She's in there. The 2 main, they're back doing their or what they thought was going to be an exorcism.
Yep.
I think that's probably the main difference between like this and the first two, is that this is a curse.
Yeah, and it's not like your typical haunted house deal that they got going.
Yeah.
Ed and Lorraine are more of the protagonists in this, in my opinion, than the other films.
Yeah.
Like, they are obviously very key, monumental characters in the other ones, but I think the focus is on the haunting of the families, where this feels like Ed and Lorraine are front and center, and obviously Arn, played by I'm gonna have to figure out how to pronounce his name, who the actor is that plays him, but like, he's also obviously a big character in this, but it really does feel like an Ed and Lorraine story, which I like. It was something different. They had to do something different, which I appreciate as well. So you got them, and then it's the
There
director.
will be spoilers, by the way. So just let you know
everything
now.
will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out before you listen to this. The director,
I don't know his name.
Michael Chaves.
Yeah.
Or Michael Chavez. Sorry.
We have
Oh,
not
no.
chugged our beer.
I was gonna get through the damn thing, Justin.
What thing?
I was just gonna say what.
Oh, sorry. I just realized because I thought we were about to start on a roll.
Dude,
like-
we don't even care. We can do this whenever.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
No, it's
Yeah.
Michael Chavez was director. Literally was the last thing I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. My bad, dog. I was like, oh fuck, we forgot to. I was like, we forgot to chug, and I was like, because when we talk, we fucking talk. Like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Justin's back doing a chug and a sipper, which is good. He was on his wedding diet, so he's still doing good things for himself. But we are going to chug
Yes.
our Dos Equis canned as we always do. Thankfully, it's not freezing cold
Nah.
as the other ones are out of the freezer. So cheers to another episode of Conjuring.
Cheers.
Devil Made Me Do It.
Mine's still full.
Oh.
Just so everybody knows.
Mine is too.
Yeah. Okay.
That was cold. That really actually was cold.
Yep.
Extremely cold. I bet it comes through great on the audio. You hear all the gulping and chugging and the burping. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Hannah hates it.
It does hate to listen. I know
Yeah.
people that listen to it, I'm sure y'all really appreciate it. So
Yeah.
probably doesn't come through as loud on video, which is good, but in audio, I definitely know y'all hear it because it picks up so much sound.
For sure.
All right.
Get my sipper ready too.
Yeah, let's open up the sipper before we get going. All right, so we already kind of set the stage. Let's talk about kind of what the setup of the plot is, right? So, Arn, like we'll go through this pretty quickly, but Arn ends up there. Well, I guess we start out. There's the exorcism that happens. It's approved for the little son David.
David, yeah.
And while they're doing that, Arn asks the demon to leave David and come to him. And the only person that I guess would have noticed that and that did see it was Ed.
Yeah.
And Ed was in the hospital after the exorcism because he
had
took
a
a lot
heart
of
attack.
damage. Yeah, he wasn't the demon was the one that was doing that, right?
The heart attack?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's in the hospital, so he can't even until he wakes up, he can't warn them till later that the demon is transferred to Arn.
Yeah.
Right, and at that point we realize it's basically too late because you start seeing the effects of you see the witch in the background at times. That's the one who made him do it. Based on in the story, obviously I'm talking story. We're gonna talk about the court case in another episode. But we're obviously all talking about the story that was written in front of us because I know there's a lot of controversy with the court case. But then Arn kills his landlord, possessed, and the movie portrays it as he feels like a demon's coming towards him and he's defending himself, right? That's how it's portrayed.
And he stabs him 22 times.
Yeah.
You don't see the stabbing, which is weird. Because you see a bunch of other weird, not weird shit, but you see a lot of gory, violent shit in not just this movie, but even in the last movie, in the movie before that.
Yeah.
So it's weird that you don't see the stabbing, but maybe it's because you stab him 22 times. It's kind of hard to show that on camera.
Yeah, that's brutal. It's a brutal to show, and movie's rated R, I believe. So I am surprised they didn't show. They did show the aftermath of the stabbings, which looked extremely brutal and bloody. Which kind of brings me to the point that this movie's, in my opinion, is a lot darker than the first two, just from a perspective of violence, or perspective on kind of the lengths they'll go at certain times.
Yeah.
So that's like there's like the self-sacrifice thing that gets brought up on the curse, and so all this, this demon that was summoned, really it's from a curse, right?
Yes.
So
The
witch Eloise.
the witch Isla something.
I think it's Eloise.
Okay.
Yeah.
She started a curse years ago. That she was supposed to sacrifice a soul. Well, 3 souls. She's already sacrificed one, and then the next 2 it was supposed to be David, but they took the demon out of him.
Yep.
So then it went to Arnie. I think it's Arnie, but I'm not. And then the 3rd one was Ed.
Yep.
So it was.
And that's what I was confused about. I was trying to figure out who the 3 ended up being. I guess the last scene in the movie of Ed being cursed also, and now it makes sense. It made sense at that point.
There's, I guess, like, Ed tends to attract, like, evil spirits.
I couldn't tell if that was, and that's the thing, is I couldn't tell if it was because Ed was kind of screwing around with the business of trying to stop it, and that's why he was cursed eventually later in the movie, which is an excellent part of the film in my opinion, or if it was because that was part of the plan all along, to bring him in, and they were bringing him in with the curse so that he could be one of the 3 sacrificed. Because we find out that the demon is going to take a soul back, one of the last remaining souls anyway.
Yeah.
Which ends up
To the devil.
Yep. So all that happens, right? So that's kind of the setup to the film, and they plead in the court case. They plead not guilty by demonic possession.
Which is the first time that's ever happened. The first time that they ever tried to put that in court
In the U.S.
in the United States. They did it in England.
Yep.
But one of the things there's a line in there that stood out to me, because it makes the most sense. You know how people plead guilty because they're crazy or mental,
insanity.
Right? Insanity, right? Or not guilty because of insanity.
Right. Yeah.
The line was something. I can't remember the line exactly. I'll see if I can't pull it up and put it in here. I don't know if I can, since it's fairly new. I don't know if this clip will be up. But the line that Ed says is, while he was talking to the lawyer that was defending Arn.
Well, he's trying to convince them to take on that plea.
He said that the people of the court believe in like the word of God, and this is what they put their faith in. Why not do the same for the devil?
The court accepts the existence of God every time a witness swears to tell the truth. I think it's about time they accept the existence of the devil.
Yeah, they recognize God and under oath, right? And then exactly. Like, I don't know the exact quote, but that was a really interesting. I mean, that was a big, I call it a hook in a trailer, right?
Yeah.
It was a really big hook in the trailer, and I thought he said it when I was watching the trailer. I thought he said it like on the stand or something because it made it look like that, but it was but no, obviously he just says it to the lawyer, and then they convince her to take on that plea once they show her some of their footage and everything, and she's like completely struck by it after they show her their footage and stuff, and decides to go along with it. So things I want to ask you, Justin, is so we're thinking like, okay, this witch is it's really Satanism she's practicing, right?
Yes.
Because that was one thing that confused me in the film, is I wasn't sure if it was witchcraft through the curse or if it was Satanism, but I think when we talked before, we agreed it seemed like it came through as Satanism.
Yeah.
Like
they made it seem like she was a witch who worshipped Satan.
Yeah.
But I know you said witchcraft and Satanism are like, which they are.
Yeah.
They are 2 different things. But the way that they made it seem was it was it was said she was a witch that was practicing Satanism.
Yeah, so I thought when they pointed to that, I thought they had a lot of one-liners and stuff that kind of, some cliche Satanist stuff that was said. And, I mean, I think I didn't love the writing in this film, to be 100% honest. But that was one of the parts of why I didn't like the writing is just, I just didn't have a clear picture. And a few things, even talking about what was her motive, right? That was one of the things I struggled with. That was one of the things I struggled with.
Yeah. Like where'd it come from?
Yeah.
It was really, because it was kind of written.
Why did she pick David to start?
Yeah.
We didn't really get an answer on that, in my opinion. If you know the answer, leave it in the comments and let us know.
Yeah. Writing probably not something that I probably didn't love as much within the three Conjurings. Mm-hmm. This is so there was a point where she, I guess, when Lorraine phases into the other side.
Yeah. In the forest.
No, this was in the. Do you know when she was in the room with the dead bodies?
Oh, yeah. When the connection becomes, she realizes the connection because she feels the body of the missing girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
That part it was okay up until the point to where there was a point where on the other side of the that room. There was this big fat dude that just rose up from...
Yeah, so it was basically possessing a body that was...
It was
because
weird.
It could cross over that. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird. It kind of makes me think about... And you watched The Conjuring 2 the other day, and it kind of makes me think of why the Crooked Man in there. Why is there this random side haunter?
Yeah. That to me it added no value to the film.
I agree. I guess it was only to show that the connection could go both ways. And set up a scare later, which it did set up something that I really loved later. In finding out Ed was cursed. But basically, that gets into, that just makes me think of, okay, well, in that scene, Lorraine finally realizes, she's I don't know where this altar is. The only way for them to break the curse is to destroy the altar. Mm-hmm. She hears running water, and she hears a train. So they eventually figured out, and we haven't talked about this character yet really much, but Father Kastner.
Yes.
John Noble, so he's the dad of the witch. That was his daughter, and we don't find that out till later. Yep, so find out that the altar is underneath there, and that's also hilarious. He has an artifact room, and Lorraine goes down, and she goes, you should, why don't you burn all this? It just cracks me up because they have an artifact room.
They have,
and he's got a room full of witch stuff.
Yeah, but theirs is, just shit from possessions.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know, it's just funny to me that she said to burn it all, and I'm you got all this stuff too. He kind of, I didn't know what to think of him at first. And then as soon as she was that's where the altar is, I was something's, and then Lorraine goes by herself over there, I was something's up.
Yeah.
I was something's up over there.
There's, it was fishy for sure, shady. He's the same guy that gave Arnie the bottle of holy water, the glass.
That's a different.
Priest?
The priest in the prison did that.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
I'm
talking about the guy that had all the stuff in his basement. That was the dad of.
Yeah.
Witch.
There was. I'm curious about is so talking about gore and the violence. There's a few times in this movie, two specific times where you hear bones cracking, and I don't know if these people are contortionists, but the way that they fold, the way they made them look.
And the way the possession stuff.
Yeah.
It's and then the ending scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think I'm curious to see how they do that. I don't know if it's added effects or if it's
Dude, you could get it may be a stunt double, and we can look this up. It may be a stunt double that's a contortionist. Well, I've seen that. Was it the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? The film that came up recently. There was a monster in that film that it looks more like CGI, but it was completely a contortionist. Mm-hmm. Same thing we were kind of talking with the guy that played the Crooked Man in Conjuring 2.
Oh yeah,
Javier Botet. He's he was very tall and has a weird body to him and can kind of play those roles perfectly. So it's just, you don't even need CGI in those parts.
That was I'm gonna be real. That was my least favorite part of Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
Is when the crooked man came from the dog and just.
Yeah, it was weird.
But yeah.
Yeah, but
So, question for you.
Yeah.
As far as the third movie goes, and I know like the first one's your favorite.
Yes.
What about this was not as strong?
So I think I think because I don't think the scares were as strong. I thought the first two were much scarier than the third one.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. They really do focus more on the love story of Ed and Lorraine. Conjuring 2 has a scene that's very important to me. It's just like why I love that movie as much as I do, and that's the scene right where they're talking on different sides of the door, and he's going into the flooded cellar. That's such a big scene to me because they take 10 minutes out of the movie to establish that. This movie, a lot of it is based on their love for each other, and you see that in Ed at the end not hurting her because she talks through with him on
Remember me. She kept saying remember me. Remember.
So that was one thing. The least scary of the three films, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was anticipating more on the court case, and we didn't get as much of that. So it felt more like an action horror because it felt like they were more pursuing stuff, and I didn't hate the shift. I mean, I thought it was a good movie. I really liked it. I really hold Conjuring 1 and 2 in extremely high regards, so that's why I say that.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good movie. Like I said, I think it's the least scary of the three, but it has a lot of good shots in it. And I think you probably noticed that, like transitions from when Arnie, when he's going back and forth of being like possessed at the beginning, and you go from like what reality is to what he's seeing.
Yeah.
And then also like the shots, the transition in the woods with Lorraine. That's what I like. So,
yeah.
What'd you think about it?
I think it was definitely the weakest of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. Like it was like I'm not gonna go out. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it to people.
Yeah, I'd say I'd say streaming. I saw it in theaters, and I'd say I really enjoyed the experience in theaters. But how'd you feel like the streaming experience?
I think it was fine. Like it wasn't.
It was not something you think you needed to see in
No.
theaters. Yeah,
I don't think so. There's a lot of things that I do want to see in theaters. This isn't one of them.
Yeah, like after you watched it, you're like, I'm glad I didn't go to the theater. And I'm glad I went for the experience, but at the same time, I'm like, it didn't blow my socks off. From like, there weren't so many scares and so many monumental scares. I was like, it would have been different from my home, like my house, versus being.
But you're also like a big fan of this. This is probably your favorite thing.
So I was really pumped.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, for me, no. Of the three, the second one's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, like, I hadn't seen it prior to this week. To me, Conjuring 2 is, after watching it, is now in my top 5.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's just done really, really well. Aside from the crooked man, like that was I was like, it would have been even better if it had just like that crooked man scene. I think it could have been done differently. Yeah. I don't think. Sorry, I'm like veering off. Yeah. But I just wanted to say this is it could if it had just been done differently instead of because it was random, like how it was
involved.
Yeah. But like I can see why. I mean, it was like the toy obviously, and it was like the trinket that they kept at the end of the movie. Yeah. But if it was inserted in the movie differently, I think it would have been a little bit better.
Maybe not and it just looked corny, essentially. So what were some of your favorite moments of Conjuring 3 then? I want to talk, like, maybe one or two moments we really thought stood out to us.
The first thing that comes to mind is the end. Is the end of when you see the witch, and the witch is going to kill Ed, and the witch is on its way. It's a black hallway. You don't see anything in the back. It's just straight up black. But this witch comes by, and she's walking very, very slow with this knife after the curse has been lifted.
Mm-hmm. After they destroyed the altar.
Yes. And Ed goes, and she was about to kill Ed and Lorraine to sacrifice the soul. But then he says, the curse is broken. And she starts to, and he says, you promised the devil a soul. and it was her soul. So she ended up sacrificing her own soul. But like this is one of the parts we were just talking about as far as like contortionists. She started to fucking just like all kinds of shit, and then while she was still doing that, the actual devil comes through in her body, and
the demon that was summoned through like her black magic
and kills her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like that was one. I know you said the scares weren't as strong, but that was something that made me do that.
It's the going from like the dark to just in the forefront of the shot. Yeah. The demon needed to bring a soul back.
Yeah. So. That was probably one of my favorite parts. Another part for me, which was fucked up. Actually, two. I'm just gonna name them two, but both with the kid. There's something about kids that like is just like I don't know, but super creepy. But the bathroom scene where you see the hand.
Oh, the hand's over. If I didn't see that in the trailer, that would have got me.
Yeah. I didn't watch the trailer prior to this, so it was creepy, and then the blood coming from the shower released. That was a great shot.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, also with the kid, was the water. There's a waterbed scene.
Again, that's shown so much in the trailer, so I'm glad you didn't watch the trailer if you loved those.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't.
That's that's good. That's like going in blind. Like those two things were shown a lot in the trailer, so they caught you off guard, which is awesome.
Yeah, because I didn't see the trailer. Like I didn't. I just went to watch it.
So. Yeah, which is good. Like a lot of people like going into movies blind, which I appreciate. I can't control myself.
Yeah, well, especially because this is The Conjuring. Yeah. That makes sense for you.
So I wanted to see what it was about.
But it was like, but I'm glad I didn't. Also, now that you say that, because I hate when movies give out whatever. Too much. So
exactly.
But what about for you?
So my one honorable mention is when Father Kastner, who's the father of the witch, when he dies, it really stuck out to me when he's talking to her in the basement and he pulls the gun out of his pocket and then immediately she slits his throat from behind. That caught me so off guard. Another thing being darker and more violent than the other films related to that. But my favorite scene was actually, I didn't love the fat dead body that was repossessed through the connection, but it did help bring us the scene that I really liked where we found out when Ed was cursed. Was basically when he's charging at the dead body and like in their house.
Yeah, he thinks it's the dead body. And
then you get the scene cut where he's holding the knife and it's Lorraine crying. Like and that I was like, oh my,
my mind blown. Because I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene. It was just a shift. So that was my favorite scene in the whole film. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the love connection between them two, I absolutely love. So
yeah, especially at the end, you got to see that a lot more. Like
I held back a wee tear.
Yeah, after the curse, and you see that they you see that they love each other very well. Like it's just, I think, I think it was a good way to end this series.
Yep. So. I thought, and I hope they do. I think they'll do more movies. To be 100% honest with you,
another Conjuring.
Yeah, I don't think that was the end of it at all, in my opinion. Like they've already talked about other cases before this one even was tossed around.
You think they'll go 9 deep, like Saw?
There's only 3 deep, so I hope they go farther than 3.
No, yeah, you know what I mean. Like Saw's on their 9,
deep, so then that's
they're on their 9th film
for better or for worse. But anyway, we didn't talk really about scoring about this. We can talk about that in part 2.
We can do it now because the second part's going to be mainly just our like.
Okay. So what would you give it on the pillar point system out of 5?
Let me get.
And I know you go a lot more by what we got. We got scare factor. We got cohesiveness. We got writing.
Yeah.
And
terror factor, cohesiveness, acting, emotional investment, storyline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the storyline a 3 personally. Emotional investment, I'm not nearly as invested as you are. I'd probably give it a 4. Acting, all of it, is a 4.5. I thought everybody, David, Arnie,
very good
his
acting.
girlfriend, Patrick, Vera, they were all good. 4.5. The cohesiveness and directorial touch is probably going to be a 3.5 for me. And terror factor is also going to be 3.5. I think altogether, I'm going to give the film a 3.5.
Yep, and I like that. So, I'm very hard on the series or the franchise because I'm such a big Conjuring fan. For all the reasons I've listed, I'm not going to go into super detail on each individual one, but for all the reasons I've talked about in this episode, I was already planning on giving it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 5 for me.
And that's even less than mine.
Yeah, and that's not that I didn't like the film. I liked the film a lot. I'm comparing it to the first Conjuring 1 and 2, and I think that's about where it stands. And then I know you'll chop it up.
Okay.
I would rewatch it, and basically, like, if you're a fan of the franchise and you're a fan of just horror in general, like the modern James Wan universe with Conjuring, even Annabelle's and the other films, go check it out. I think you'll like it. And then I think you'll also have things like you think could have done better, but also things I think you may love, which is what I got out of it.
I will say, I want to add to that is you can tell, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but you can definitely tell that this was not directed by James Wan.
Agreed.
James Wan's mind is just a whole, like, I don't know what it is about him.
Spectacular.
Yeah, but he does a really, 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 really good job. I don't think I have watched a James Wan film that was directed by him that I have not liked, or rated like a 3, or for that matter. But you could definitely tell, not to knock Michael Chavez, but he's no James Wan.
Yep. I mean, he didn't have too many films to his name. I saw it was like Curse of La Llorona was what I saw.
Yeah.
And I didn't see much out there. So props to him for taking on such a big film. Also, it's not easy to do the third film in and something that was started by what The Conjuring was.
Mm-hmm.
So props to him. But that's how I feel. I really did like it. So I'd say go check it out. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in our part 2. We're gonna talk a little more about like the court cases of the movie versus what was shown in the movie. So we're gonna try to get deep into that because I know that was a big topic going into it of how the court case related to what was shown in the film. Obviously, a lot of the stuff is fabricated for the sake of the film, but we want to dive in a little more deep with that since we got to say a lot we wanted to say about the film in this episode.
Interesting to me that this was like all 3 were. I was telling Hannah, I was like, these are all based on true stories.
And talk about the damn Exorcist tapes that were at the end of the movie. If you didn't stay for credits in the movie, those are scary as shit.
Yeah,
scary as shit. So let's get to our sponsors before we wrap up an episode. Let's talk the banner. Go see boring_Millie.
Hey,
got a good banner here. If you need banner for announcement of a baby, your mama's famous apple pie, you just want to announce what your name is, just go get a banner from my guy. He designed this and helps us out. This is a great backdrop for all we do. So thank you, our dog Kosi at boring_Millie. Follow him on IG. He does a lot of great stuff.
Fire. Peace and love.